Today we're going to see if a stock shaft measures up. Hey everyone, welcome to Tour Validated. My name is DJ Lantz, joined by my partner, Kris McCormack, and today we have a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about OEM proprietary shafts versus aftermarket. Kris, what do we got?
So in the custom world, that's kind of a common misconception of people will go buy a golf club off the rack and assume that the shaft that they're getting is either the same or similar to what it is that they see being sold for upwards of $300, $400, $500 plus. And I mean, to put it simply, it's just not the case. So quality of materials, graphics, I mean, even the paint and the performance characteristics, the profile of the shaft, usually very different from what it is that we're buying directly off the rack.
Right.
So today just kind of want to take a little deeper dive into how these shafts differentiate and essentially what you can gain or potentially lose by going with proprietary shaft versus a higher end aftermarket option.
And I think that's an important note. It isn't necessarily going to be better for you. The processes are different, the shafts may not be the same, but doesn't mean that one or the other is better for you. So we're going to dive into that and really, hopefully, uncover the truth.
I say we dive into this.
Yep.
And we'll take us back into the build shop and take a little look at what goes into essentially some of these aftermarket shafts and how it is that they start to differentiate from the proprietary cousin, we'll call it.
Perfect.
Let's go.
We're back in the build shop here, and we have the two shafts with us. We have the proprietary OEM shaft and the aftermarket shaft. We're going to take it through this fun little machine called the PUREing machine. Kris, let's do this.
So SST PUREing machine essentially is just going to show us how consistent these shafts are as far as identifying where the heaviest and stiffest point in the shaft is in relationship to where the shaft manufacturer actually put that logo. So OEM builds are going to associate the logo essentially up or down. Now, in a perfect world, we would see after this shaft goes through the machine, the heaviest and stiffest point being right there in line with the logo. So curious to see how much inconsistency there is between proprietary and then the authentic version that is going to be just a little higher price point. Proprietary shaft, as expected, not as consistent as we thought. Now I want to test with a control head and get a couple of swings. Both of these shafts are built same length, same weight category. Baseline I want to get with the proprietary version.
Yep.
Let's see what it does.
Didn't feel terrible. I mean, feels very playable, but I can already tell looking at that number, not getting the most out of it. Very playable. And when these shafts are designed, there is thought that goes into this. They're making an optimal shaft for a wide variety of players, but at a cost that's a little bit more affordable. Oh boy, yep, definite miss hit. We lost the shaft heavily in that swing.
Just lost it a little bit
We
there?
lost it. I felt the club head way back here. I'm re-teeing immediately. That is gonzo. And there's a big variety in front to back dispersion and right to left dispersion. So I'm hoping with that shaft that this tightens up a little bit, otherwise I'm gonna be a little worried.
Let's go into a very similar profile in the aftermarket shaft.
Easily biggest takeaway through 3 swings is dispersion. Dispersion has been immensely better.
Now, I will tell you that for the majority of us out there that do have speed, speed usually equates to expensive. And the big separation between the proprietary version and the aftermarket version is quality of materials and the amount of material used in that shaft. So DJ, wrapping up a little bit of testing today. We had an opportunity to test a really high-end, nice Diamana aftermarket shaft with a proprietary version that comes stock in several different heads that are out there. And this is actually a shaft that a lot of OEMs use. Now, after doing some testing, going through SST PUREing machine to get these guys in the best possible position that we could, doing some hitting, and then coming over and testing how consistent they were on the CPM machine. I mean, feel on your end, dispersion spoke for itself.
Yep.
What did you notice?
Again, the dispersion was probably the biggest thing that I noticed. With the aftermarket version, it was a lot tighter, a lot more consistent. But feel-wise, I wouldn't say it's night and day, but from a feel perspective, I do tend to lean a little bit more towards that aftermarket version.
Sure. And like we had kind of talked about earlier, speed can get expensive.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I highly recommend making your decision after a fitting.
Absolutely. So you could go through this process and we could have found that the OEM version was the better version for me. We were really just interested in seeing which was better. It turned out that the aftermarket was, but there are going to be instances where that OEM version might be better for you. But the best way to find out is going to be to go spend some time with a master club fitter and see what's best.
100%. You never know until you test.
Absolutely.
So big thank you to Mitsubishi Chemical for giving us a couple of options to test. And thank you again to TrueSpec in Scottsdale, Arizona for allowing us to hijack their hitting bay and play with some of the cool toys they have back in that build shop. DJ, if they want more content, where do they got to go?
Make sure to check us out on our other social media platforms at Tour Validated, as well as subscribe to this YouTube channel and leave your comments below. We'd like to know what you think and what you want to see in the future.
Thanks.